Good evening. Today is October 7th and I'm going to choose my Inktober Booktober Day 7 prompt. That. Can I choose another one? Wasn't there a this already? There was a then on day 2. Should I choose another one? It's not at all the same word, but no, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm choosing another word. This is my challenge. I can do whatever I want. I'm gonna choose another word because I want a noun. I want at least, I don't know. I just feel like it's too close to what I already had. So I'm going to choose another one. Through. Fine. Through is better. I'm gonna go think about a book recommendation and the illustration. I'll be right back. Good evening. It's way past midnight on September the 7th. And I finally got through my drawing and book recommendation prompt, which was the word through. Aren't I clever? Okay, here's my drawing. I just did Alice. I did Alice because Alice is from a shelter. And the shelter that I took her from is going through a lot right now. And also animals that are raised in shelters go through a lot. I tried to donate to the shelter and my friend and I are going to make pet beds for them. Because at the beginning of the war, they got hit with a missile and everything burnt down. I think I mentioned it in one of my videos, the very first ones on the channel. It was horrible. A lot of animals died. All the food and everything, all the supplies they had, everything burned. A lot of pavilions burned, so they had to rebuild entirely. So, yeah. And the book recommendation for the word through is Rose Madder by Stephen King. Rose Madder is a character that has to go through a lot. This isn't a book of King's that is mentioned often, which is surprising to me because I think it's one of the best ones of his that I read. It's slightly weird and supernatural, just like most of his work. It's about this woman. Her name isn't Rose Madder. I cannot remember her name. Rose Madder is, it's something from the book, but it's not the character's name. It's the story of a woman who one day decides that it's time to leave her abusive husband. Trigger warning for massive abuse. It's horrible. And her husband is just, ooh, evil creature, no. And she leaves him and she starts to run from him and he is trying to find her and get her back. A Rose Madder is a story of this woman coming into her own, finding who she actually is, and finding happiness in her life while getting some maybe magical, strange, some kind of help. So I really enjoyed it, even though the abuse parts were really hard to read. And he's not only abusive towards her, he's also like, he assaults and does horrible things to people that he encounters whilst looking for her. So, like, you've been warned. It's Stephen King. Like, if you read Stephen King, you know that he writes about these horrible things sometimes. So, yes, Rose Madder. I think it's a wonderful book about finding who you are and finding your freedom and going out to live on your own. And yes, now I'm probably going to go to sleep because it's so late. And I'll see you tomorrow. Hi, let's really quickly choose my word prompt for book Inktober for today. And. Get bent. And. Well, I did this to myself. I'm gonna go wash my hair and think about it. And I'm gonna come up with something fun. And I'm gonna get to draw. And we're having fun. Hi, it's September the 8th. Sorry, side note, I keep saying September in this video. What is wrong with me? It's October. Every single time I say September, I mean October. I was full in bed, like I was falling asleep. And then, you know, like when you forget something and you're falling asleep, and I just went, I didn't do my Inktober today. So I got up and I kept thinking about the word and what could I possibly draw and recommend for that word. And what I'm going to recommend to you is The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. The Old Man and the Sea is a very short book, and it's one of the best books I've ever read. It's just a story about a fisherman called Santiago who's fishing out in the sea in his little boat with his young teenage boy helper. And then he's alone there in the sea, and he's looking for this specific fish, and he catches the best fish of his life, and then he loses it. That's literally the story. And it's not a spoiler, because it's on the back of the book. But it's just so beautiful. And how much thought, how many emotions can a story about a fisherman really evoke in you? And my answer is all of them. Read this book and you'll understand what I mean. Also, if you feel like an audiobook, there's a version of it that Charlton Heston narrates, and it's perfect. It's perfect! He did the perfect audiobook job. So please read The Old Man and the Sea, and here's my horrible drawing. It's, yeah, that's what it is. It's a fish with a hand. And I couldn't even erase the pencil because I lost the only eraser that I have, apparently. I'm gonna buy, like, a bucket of them tomorrow because I keep losing them. Well, that's just, yeah, that's what I did. There's no explanation. Good night! Hello, today is September 9th. Let's choose the drawing book Inktober prompt for the day. I really want a noun. Boom. Nothing. That's a good one. Okay, nothing. How am I supposed to draw something that's nothing? Gotta think about that. Hello, I'm gonna be quick. Today is September 11th. I haven't done my Inktober yesterday and today, so I'm going to do 2 drawings and 2 book recommendations today. For day 9, I also haven't made a video, which is what I'm doing now. For day 9, the word is nothing, and for that, I don't like the drawing that I did. I wanted to draw something a little bit different, but the way it came out is this. Here it is. It's just some tentacles peeling an apple. It's not my best work. It might be my worst work, but okay, moving on. I'm gonna do better today. For the book recommendation for the word nothing, I think you should all read The Outsider by Albert Camus. I also really salty that I don't have my books with me and I cannot dramatically hold it up, so here's the cover that I have. The Outsider by Albert Camus, another translation that you might find is The Stranger, but I think that The Outsider is a better translation. I don't speak French, but The Stranger does not really describe the plot of the book as well as The Outsider. It's just a story about a man going about his life. At the very beginning of the book, his mother dies, and he goes to the funeral, and it's just about things that happened to him after the death of his mother. But the thing is that there is something unusual about this man that makes other people very uncomfortable and which leads to drastic things in his life. And you might not understand immediately what this specificity about him is, but at the very end of the book, you will probably see what is wrong with him. There's nothing wrong with him, but what he's doing is making everybody else very uncomfortable. So I think this is a good read for everybody. It's also pretty short. And now let's choose the word for... Where's my book? Here it is. Let's choose the word for September 10th from Sunshine by Robert McKinley, which I'm still reading. I've been reading this for a week, not because I didn't like it, but just because I didn't feel well for about 4 days in a row and I haven't read anything. And the second word for today, I'm going to choose from Medusa by Jessie Barton, because I'm going to start this one next and I want a different book to choose from. So, for September 10th, derive. That's a good word. Derive. Okay, excellent. So, for September 10th, we have derive. And now let's do September 11th for today. Oh, sorry, there's two words. In my, and it's literally in between them. Should I do a drawing for in my? No, that's two words. It doesn't count. Okay, let's do the same page, but just off. Off. Okay. All right. Let's go draw. Hello again. Okay, so my prompt for book Inktober day 10, which was, God, 3 days ago now, moving on, was derive. I took it from my book Sunshine, and for that I already showed you the drawing, but here it is because I upgraded it. I was like, that won't do, so I worked on it some more. Is it focusing? Yeah, here it is. I'm gonna film it more and add it onto the footage. And the book that I am going to recommend you is 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. This is my favorite book of all time. Like, number one. This is the favorite one. This is the best book. Keep in mind that you might not love it. You might not even like it. And you might hate it. Because everybody in my life who I recommended this book to told me that it's boring and they couldn't finish it. Which is valid, like I get it, okay? I understand. There's no real plot. It's about this family that sets out to start their own settlement and just about the generations of this family. A lot of people find this book confusing because all of the male members of this family have the same 3 names and different variations of these 3 names. So I know it can be very hard. There's no plot so much as it's just a story of all of these different family members. And to me, it's a book that you can derive any kind of meaning from. I think you can take so much from the story. It's magical realism. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful story. Beautifully written. It's full of very vivid imagery from everyday lives of people. It's full of unsavory imagery, I would say, blood, illness, and carnal desires and issues with that. And I realize now that I've been talking too long for this one book. So, moving on. September 11th. The word is off, and I took it from the book Medusa. You already have the footage. And for that, the drawing that I did is, oh, I really don't want to show you. I just do not. Here it is. I don't know. He just looks like a weird little hairy man, and I mean, I guess it's all right. The book that I'm going to recommend you for this ugly little mouse is Flowers for Algernon by Ken Kesey. It's a book, it's a story about a man with, he's an adult man, but he's had developmental issues, and he works like, kind of like a cleaning man or something in a business, and he gets approached for this experiment where they will experiment on him in order to see if they're going to be able to increase his intelligence, increase his IQ, and see how that goes. And the experiment goes well, but maybe not so well. And it's one of the best books I've ever read. It's sort of like his diary, so when you start to read the book, there's a lot of mistakes in the writing, and as the experiment progresses, the writing changes. And it's a very sad book. And now, let's choose my book Inktober prompt for September 12th, for today. Let's take Medusa again. Spent. I do not want to tell you what came into my mind. Spent. Okay, I'll go think about it. I'll go take a break because I've been drawing for a long time. And then I'm going to draw, and then I'm going to finish this footage, and then you're going to see it. Good evening, October 12th. Final update with a drawing and a book recommendation for this part of the video. My book recommendation for the word spent is The Confession by Jessie Burton. Jessie Burton is one of my favorite writers. Listen about the book while you look at my horrible drawing. The Confession is a story about a young woman who never knew her mother and wants to find out more about her. Her father doesn't talk about the mother, and she finds this old friend that her mother spent a lot of time with in like old Hollywood. This friend is a writer, and she tries to spend more time with her to find out about her mother, but something goes a little bit wrong. It's an excellent book. I think maybe if you enjoyed The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo for that element of old Hollywood in it, and also dual perspectives back and forth in time, that's a good one. But it's a very slow story, and there's not going to be a lot of action. It's just slow and contemplative about a mother-daughter relationship and just friendship. So yes, The Confession by Jessie Burton. Here's my art. Now I'm going to go to sleep, and I hope you enjoyed this second part of the series. Please tell me if you read any of the books that I recommended and what you thought of them, and what you think of my drawings. And I'll see you soon. Slava Ukraini!